Hi there, Dirty Daddy's crew. Since we have a whole hour, I thought I might do something new and try a short reading from Taming His Brat. Now, I've never really done this before for a takeover or a party, but it seemed like it might be fun. I'm going to record it and upload it to YouTube since there's not really an option for that inside of Facebook other than live, which is hard to fit into a time slot. And then I will give you the link right here. And now I'll read. Sitting in his lap as he fed her pie had gone a long way towards soothing those frayed nerves. She'd been relaxed and happy right up until he'd reminded her about the punishment and sent her to the corner. She sighed and kicked the wall with her toe, frustrated and embarrassed to be standing there with her pants down. She snuck a look back over her shoulder as she fidgeted and waited for it to be done. But he caught her immediately. She muttered something rude about him under her breath as she snapped back around. She had an active mind, and standing there staring at the wall was torture. Well, maybe not torture exactly, but she hated it. Why couldn't he just spank her and get it over with? She knew the answer to that, of course, but that didn't stop her from being annoyed about it. The daddy thing had settled into their relationship, and although it had thrown her in the beginning, she'd really come around. But it had since grown beyond a sexy bedroom thing. Sam had a strong daddy-dom side. He'd been trying to take care of her since they were both kids, and now she'd given him license to be the boss full-time. Part of putting him in charge had been accepting that punishments that weren't fun would come along with it. She'd been prepared for that. What she hadn't expected was how young some of them would make her feel. The embarrassment, the knowing what was about to happen, they combined to give her this nervous little girl feeling that she had trouble shaking off. She'd never really understood the daddy-little girl dynamic, but the simple daddy kink had grown into something closer to that kind of relationship when they'd started playing again. In the beginning, calling him daddy had felt weird and awkward, but now it felt normal. At times, with the punishment and caretaking, it felt more parental. And she was surprisingly okay with that, because it came with a feeling of being safe and secure in his arms. She liked being taken care of and spoiled a little bit. It was the humiliating punishments she didn't like. Well, at least she told herself she didn't like them. She was far too aware of the very different feelings under the surface. Sometimes those punishments were a turn-on. Sometimes the embarrassment factor added to that to make her wet and needy for his touch. But aside from that, there was something cathartic about a punishment that pulled up a whole range of emotions. It started with nervousness, dread, frustration, and even anger. Then once they moved on to the spanking part of the cycle, it became sadness, regret, guilt. Sometimes there was still lingering frustration. It could take a while to get past that. But then, finally, there wasn't room for any of that. There was just the pain and the tears until it was over. The best part came once they were finished with all of it. The part where he soothed her and made her know she was forgiven. Then she felt like she was his good girl again and could let go of all the guilt and self-critical thoughts and just be his as he wrapped her in his arms and rocked her.